Okay, now there's another way that you can actually change this lesson plan. And now here it is in my work. Let's take a look. If I can go back into it using that little eye, I'm going to go to the view template. When I click on that, it's going to open up all of the choices that were used to make this lesson plan. Why is that important? Because it has all the instructional methods, all of those things there. It gives you that blueprint for the lesson, right? And it also gives you this additional information. So if the person who had made it and shared it to the library had put their resource link in, then you would also have access to that. You could just have the link to go to that resource and use it yourself. What a great way to collaborate, right? Now I'm going to go and modify this by saying use template. So if I click on that, what it does is it actually takes me back into the lesson plan, but not the finished version. It actually takes me back into the template of it. So I can go back in and I can make different choices. Like here, I'm not going to change my jurisdiction or anything, but I might want to add some GLOs or my specific outcomes, my cusps. So I can now choose and add more if I wanted to include another cusp, or it's all right in there. And notice the curriculum is right at your fingertips. So more likely I'm going to keep those outcomes, but I want to change maybe my instructional methods. So maybe for my class, they really are great at collaborative learning, and I want to include some small group activity here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and select the instructional methods, choose collaborative learning. Now this lesson is going to regenerate, but it's going to make sure that it includes that small group learning, right? Maybe also I have some students in my class that need some language and vocabulary support. I'm going to make sure that I put the pre-teach vocabulary into my lesson plan, and it's going to make sure that it incorporates that support into the lesson plan itself. So this is a way that you can now really think about the needs of your students, your context again, and make sure that you've got the things you need in there. Now, some students might need choice boards, right? They might want different choices. If they're struggling with engagement and interest, that's a way that you can get that motivation for them. I'm not going to do that one for now. I'm just going to do pre-teach vocab. Let's do next steps. Okay, now here I can change the number of sessions that I want. So if I actually want to make 2 or 3 lesson plans on this topic, I could go ahead and do that. So now I've got just a variety of different teaching lessons to work from. I can enter a theme, and the additional information is really helpful because I can now add things from my classroom. What are the materials that we have in our classroom, or what are the things that are in our classroom environment? Maybe I'm doing this in a class without desks. I could say that, or I can modify this lesson to fit my context just by adding that additional information. And this last feature about adding a reference. You know, we all have those materials that we already have. So it would be great to be able to add those resources into and use our existing resources. So if I've been in Teacher Time Machine, I can actually add from my work, so existing things that I've generated. I can add from the assets, pictures and images, and I can add from the shared library. So if I wanted to bring something else, another resource from the shared library into here, I could do it. Or I can upload it from my computer. So really, I can use anything that I've already got now and use it as a reference for this lesson. So when I do that, I'm going to click on there. I'm going to go and get that. So let's go to my assets just to show you today. And we're going to go and find an image that I want the students to use for the group work. So we're going to go back to finding that land acknowledgement one. I'm going to attach that. It's not keeping it, it's just attaching it. But now I'm going to tell it how to use it. Let's use this image as the basis for a small group study during the lesson. And I'm going to generate that lesson. Okay, here it is. And now I have a completely new lesson, still based on the same outcomes, the same, some of the same materials that I had before, but I made the changes that make it relevant to my classroom and my students. And now I've got, things like the student small group work in there. And it's been modified to what I needed. A totally customized learning experience for my students. We need to build off of each other, right? This is how we can collaborate. We can take it and make it our own and build off of the work of other people. And this is what teachers do all the time, and we're so effective at it, and we're just happy to be able to bring you this tool that lets you do it more effectively now. And if I want to now generate a new presentation, I could just do that at the bottom. If I'm happy with this, if I don't want to edit it or anything beyond that, I'm going to now go generate that lesson. I'm going to go generate that lesson, and by doing that, it's going to put it into my work now. So we got the original from the shared library, and now I have my own copy and with my own choices. I could take my version and share it back to the library and keep the sharing going. So if I think that this is a really good result, we want to make sure these are teacher vetted, right? So if you think it's good, something to share back to the library, please do that and let others work off of yours and see that you had a really great modification to that lesson.